Welcome to Unlocked, an NAMFS podcast. In our initial episode of Equipped for Success, we're diving into the mission and impact of NAMFS Academy and how education is helping raise the standard across the mortgage field services industry. From closing knowledge gaps to improving safety, compliance, and performance, we'll explore why training matters now more than ever. Let's get started.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for season 2 of the NAMFS Podcast. This is exciting. I'd like to start with introductions of our panel today. First, I'm Kelly Chambers, President and COO of G7 Service Group. We're a national property preservation and inspections vendor.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Lawrence Ospina, founder and CEO of LCCO Properties in New York.
And my name is Eric Miller. I'm the Executive Director of NAMFS, and we're excited to get started.
Great. Thanks, gentlemen, for joining us today. This season, we've been talking a lot about resources and the ROI on joining NAMFS and what NAMFS does for its membership and how we partner for progress and industry initiatives. So today, we really want to hone in and focus on the NAMFS Academy. So I'm going to just ask Eric, would you mind taking a few minutes to introduce our audience to the mission behind the NAMFS Academy and how it supports the industry?
Sure. NAMFS Academy's been around since 2019. It's our education arm. The mission of the Academy is to elevate the professionalism, consistency, and capabilities of the industry through the courses and the education. At a high level, it's about raising the bar across the entire industry. We want to make sure that whether you're in the field or part of a larger organization, there's a consistent understanding of what good or a standard looks like. It's about turning experience into something more structured, more repeatable, so that we're not just relying on kind of a trial or error or, oh, hey, I went out and I tried this or I did this and this one worked. And when that happens, again, when we kind of have that standard, the whole industry becomes more consistent, more professional, and more trusted, which is really what the Academy's goal is.
Yeah, I like the repeatable part because as processes and procedures become repeatable, it makes us all more efficient, right?
Sure.
And then we only have to tackle the exceptions, and efficiency leads to time savings, which is a cost savings for our membership. So that's great. Right. Lawrence, I know you're a super user of the NAMFS Academy. You've shared in the past that you encourage your employees and all the guys that you work with to take the classes. What kind of knowledge gaps or skill gaps are you seeing across vendors today in our industry?
Well, I personally have been seeing that the biggest gap in the industry are understanding ICC condition, HUD guidelines and requirements. And another thing is the different type of loan status that each property has. If you don't understand that, you can either be wasting your time and bidding for things that are never going to get approved or leaving money on the table. So those are the biggest gaps I've seen.
Yeah, that I would echo that as well. Not understanding where the loan is at in the process, overbidding, and then certainly underbidding and leaving money on the table. That's great. Eric, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think what NAMFS is seeing is kind of not a lack of effort by those in the field, but there's like kind of gaps in that consistency. A little bit of what like Lawrence was saying. Without any kind of consistent standards or trainings, executions definitely vary. And what we would love to have is, kind of a repeatable, scalable solution that's out there. And that's obviously where risk enters into the equation, right? Chargebacks, all those other demands, those types of things. So with the Academy, the whole idea is really to minimize those types of things. We've got in the Academy, we talk about standard documentation, understanding what the timelines are, and then really making sure that people are up to date with regulatory changes. And that's kind of where the Academy is elevating itself to. Right now, we have kind of our base courses, but we're definitely looking to expand that. And then finally, I know we talked a lot about it at the conference just this past week. There's communication and making sure that what's happening in the field is clearly understood throughout the supply chain and all the way up through the servicer is absolutely critical. And that alignment is actually what's going to make us more successful, more coherent as an industry, And that's really what we were trying to do with the Academy.
It's great. Lawrence, in your experience, how's the training impacted the safety and compliance and performance in the field for your organization?
Yeah, well, things like checking occupancy multiple times and documenting minor hazards, or even responding to coordinators on time, sometimes it seems like not a big deal, but they actually help prevent legal risks, major damages, and safety issues when we're performing our work out in the field, especially in these volatile times that things can escalate from 0 to 100 in, in milliseconds. So it's very important to be trained and have everybody in your staff be trained as well, and not just do things that they have, not a good idea or understanding on how to be performed. So having a standard is key to the industry.
Yeah, I think worth repeating what you started with is the multiple and diligent check on occupancy status before you start work to avoid the legal. So I know that's hit in the NAMFS Academy training as well, but it's such a critical piece for safety for all of us. So that's great. Eric, do you have anything to add on gaps?
Yeah, I think from the safety standpoint, we're obviously looking for, we talk about in the Academy how to approach, how to de-escalate. Those types of things are really, really, really key for us. So, and then, going back to what we've said, but what I've said before, but efficiency. So that's really about it. I thought, Lawrence, really, you hit it on the head there for us.
That's great. Lawrence, what resources or certification do you think every contractor should be taking advantage of in your experience?
Well, NAMFS Academy is great. It has a lot of resources, and you can go there and be there for hours on end. But the two that I really recommend, the two certifications that I really recommend are the inspections and preservation one. The inspections, people may think that is just very simple, taking a couple of pictures of our property and that's it, but it's actually not. It's very important to understand that there's different types of inspections. Also, how to approach these properties, how to communicate with homeowners, with neighbors, and law enforcement. This is very important and key to maintaining safety while doing our work in the field. Also, the preservation certification is really important, not only for the field members that are performing the work and documenting the work, and especially when they're doing high liability tasks like winterizations and securings, but it's also very important for your office staff to take it because sometimes to them, taking all of these photos from different angles, documenting everything, taking all these notes may seem excessive, but it's actually the best way to protect the asset, the client, the servicer, and obviously you as the vendor from any liability.
That's awesome feedback. I know that at the conference over the last week, we talked a lot about safety and inspections, and some of the situations are challenging for the inspectors in the field. And one of the topics was de-escalation, being trained on how to de-escalate those hostile situations. And the NAMFS Academy definitely offers best practices and guidance on those topics and many other topics to remain safe in the field. I think somebody said at the conference, the goal is for everyone to come home tonight. And I think the NAMFS Academy training, can help reiterate that and give you guys skills, give our membership skills in order to make that true for everyone. That's awesome. Eric, how does investing in education strengthen the industry as a whole and support our NAMFS mission?
I think education is really foundational. Without it, everybody talks about continuous learning, right? And that's really kind of, if you kind of, hey, I've done it this way, and then I never kind of educate myself as to, hey, here are some new tools or some new tricks, or here are new guidelines that I have to follow. It's really going to kind of cause some significant issues out there. I think when everyone's operating on the same level, you start to see consistency across the board, better quality, stronger compliance, less risk, and clearer communication. From a NAMFS perspective, that directly supports what we're trying to do, which is move the industry forward through collaboration and shared standards. And at the end of the day, when the industry is educated, it becomes more unified. And when it's unified, it has a stronger and a more effective voice. So the Academy, like I said, it started out as, particular courses. We're looking, especially as a board, how we can enhance that. Are there specific trainings that we need to add? And then really kind of taking on a continuous education, because we feel that that's really the most important thing to help the industry.
Yeah, never stop learning, right? Henry Ford said, anyone who stops learning is old, whether they're 20 or 80, but anyone who keeps learning stays young, right? So I'm in the let's keep learning category, and let's all stay young. Yeah, that's great. Thanks, gentlemen, for your time today and helping educate our membership on the importance and the resources on the NAMFS Academy. I hope you guys join us soon for the next podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for watching and listening to Unlocked, a NAMFS podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the NAMFS YouTube channel or follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. We'll be back next Wednesday with another Season 2 conversation, and we look forward to having you join us.